The basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vlog. Jersey Joe back here, and kind of continuing with our college football, kind of on a different note, though. This morning, obviously, on Good Morning America, I think we're all kind of well-versed in what happened with DeAndre Johnson and with everything with Florida State. Just despicable. I mean, the video of him just striking a woman at a Tallahassee bar, it's just bad. And I think at the end of the day, obviously, he said, I apologize, I'm ashamed of myself, but I mean, there are just some things that just are almost inexcusable, and to me, this is just one of those things. I mean, and I think we're kind of seeing the climate of where we are today with the way that the NFL has kind of set the standard of where they stand on domestic violence. Now, obviously, they handled the Ray Rice thing horribly, but I think Greg Hardy, look, that 10-game suspension, I don't care if you want to kick the guy out of the league. I mean, there's no room in professional sports for that kind of behavior. And DeAndre Johnson is a guy who's 19 years old, and this is already the kind of thing that he does. To be honest, I would never, ever consider him for a college football program. I would never want that kind of character around. It doesn't matter if it's in business, if it's in sports, or if it's in life. That's not a person that I want hanging around with. And it all boils down to, what do you want to stand for in life? What do you want to stand for? The kind of people that you hang around with, the kind of people that you employ, that's all a reflection of you and what you stand for. If you're an owner of an NFL franchise and you employ the services of a guy like Greg Hardy, that's a reflection of you. That's a reflection of your values, what you stand for. Now, we can all say, look, that we all like second chances. Second chances are great. But there's a line, and I think when you come to cases like with Greg Hardy's a creep, folks. I mean, you look at the reports of the kind of stuff that guy did, you look at the video of stuff like this with DeAndre Johnson, there is a line in life where second chances, I'll be honest, I don't want to give second chances. There's a cutoff point in life. There are points where, look, everybody is entitled to second chances at points. But there are points where those second chances, that line gets cut off. DeAndre Johnson, Greg Hardy, stuff like that crosses that line. Even Ray Rice crosses that line. I don't want to give that second chance. I don't think that you've earned it. When you show, there are moments where reactions are not normal. Look, there are people who said that she might have said a racial slur to him. And look, there's never an excuse for that either. But countering that by just taking a swing. I mean, this is a 19-year-old athlete who's a quarterback for Florida State and has athleticism and strength that just normal people like you and I will never have. His fists are weapons, and just that is not a reaction. That is not an appropriate reaction ever, and that's not a normal reaction. Normal people, I mean, look, if you make a comment to somebody that's hurtful, and it can be as hurtful as one like that, it's still not a normal reaction to take a swing like that. I think that a lot of look, maybe he gets another shot with another program somewhere, but I mean, man, when you look at the climate of where we are today and the seriousness, especially across college campuses with domestic violence and things of that nature, I think this is as extreme an issue as there is. If I'm a university or if I'm a football program, I don't care how much I think this guy can help me. If I stand for values and if I want people to look at me with respect and to look at my program and respectfully look at it, I would never let this guy anywhere near me, anywhere near my players, because again, I think that's the biggest thing that gets lost in all this when teams give guys like Greg Hardy a second shot, is that is not just, it's a reflection of you as an owner, of you as the that enterprise is you. That's your blood. That's what you put into. That's why for Jerry Jones, when you add a guy like Greg Hardy to your team, that's a reflection of you, Jerry Jones. That's a reflection of what you stand for. Again, everybody's going to say, well, I believe in second chances. Again, there's a line in life where second chances can't be given anymore. There just is. And I think when you look at the evidence, if it doesn't sit well with you, that's all you kind of need to know. When you look at the stuff with Greg Hardy, when you look at what happened with DeAndre Johnson, there's a cutoff point to second chances in life. And guys like Hardy, guys like Johnson, they cross that line where that second chance, I don't want to give it to you, and I don't care. I'm probably sounding harsh. People probably disagree. I really don't care because there's values in life that some of us have and some of us don't. And at the end of the day, that's a big factor in if I'm giving you a second chance or not. And I have no sympathy for guys like DeAndre Johnson, guys like Greg Hardy. You look at them and you just look at them differently than you do with other people because what they do, you just think about it. It's not normal reactions that people have. People get angry. Heck, everybody gets angry. I get angry. But that's never something that would cross my mind, ever. And I think for normal people, that's not something that you'd ever think about. And that's a big part of why second chances, there's a line sometimes, and man, I'm not giving them, especially to DeAndre Johnson and to guys like Greg Hardy. Certainly, and I do want to take a look at the interview, though. I really only saw a snip clip. I know he was sitting with his mother in the interview, and look, obviously he said, I'm ashamed if I could do, I know I wasn't raised that way, his exact quotes, I know I wasn't raised that way, if I could do it all over again, I would, but again, folks, there's a line in life. Don't cross it because there's some times where there's going to be certain people who are going to subscribe to the theory that I do where just those second chances aren't going to come your way. And for a kid like this that's 19, man, I mean, this is going to be the moment. And that's the biggest thing. How do you want to be remembered in life? How do you want to be remembered? I mean, when we look at guys like Ray Rice, that incident with him, that's what he's going to be remembered for the rest of his life. There's nothing that he does will ever be able to overshadow what he did. Same thing with DeAndre Johnson. The kid's 19 years old. This video of him, that's what he's going to be remembered for the rest of his life. Greg Hardy, doesn't matter what he does as a football player, what he does off the field, he's always going to be remembered by his domestic violence issues. Adrian Peterson, all the good things that he did, always going to be overshadowed by the domestic violence case of what he did to his son. There are moments in life, folks, you always got to be very, very careful because one moment could undo all the good things that you've ever did, all the good you ever stood for. It could all be undone in one moment. It all comes down to it. How do you want to be remembered in life? And then always remember that there are second chances, but then there's a line where those second chances just aren't going to come. But very good thoughts this morning. You know, I haven't had a chance to get to this story yet, and I think it's certainly a stance that I look at this the same way that I've looked at the Ray Rice thing, the same way that I looked at the Greg Hardy thing, the same way that I look at all these things. There's chances in life, and then there's times where I'm not giving you those second chances. And DeAndre Johnson, I'm going to watch the interview. I'm sure he's going to be apologetic. Maybe there will be a tear shedded or two. But I'm sorry, there's a point in life, sometimes in life, I need to stand for something, and I'm not giving guys like that a second chance. I'm not giving them a pass. I'm just sorry. That's the way that I live. That's the way that I think that the philosophy should be. And in professional sports and college sports, there's no room for it, and there's no room for second chances for it. But very good thoughts. I definitely am interested to hear other people's thoughts, though, because that's mine. I know a lot of other people have their own similar thoughts on the situation because, again, it all comes down to the climate that we live in today, and especially that we're seeing now. Cases like this involving domestic violence are very prevalent in society. So if you have thoughts about it, if you agree with my thoughts, if you have different thoughts about it, certainly would like to know in the comments below. But certainly keep up with it. I will be back in a minute with another segment. I think right now we're going to jump a little bit into the NBA because that's really the only thing we haven't covered so far. So don't go anywhere. Obviously, there's LeBron talk on the horizon. You can't do it the NBA way without talking about LeBron James. So don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.